Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us a transformational coach, Bree Cook, and we'll be talking about her journey through her industry as well as how she serves her clients. Bree, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. Glad to be here.
Hey, so I want to dive all into what you do because I think the word transformation is so powerful. I love, seeing transformational coach because most of us want to see results, but it's not really the metrics or the KPIs or the tactics of those results. We want to see a transformation, whatever it is, personally, professionally, financially, all of that. So before we dive into what you do and how you do it, give us a little bit of your story and background and how did you get into the industry?
Absolutely. So for those of you, Mike said, my name is Bree Cook. I'm actually a mind and life attunement guide. My team and I support people in creating alignment across their mindset, their identity, and life direction to create lasting transformation in their life. I actually got into this industry because I started out as a hairdresser just fresh out of high school. And the more that I did my clients, the more work that I did, I was really looking at these people and I was transforming their lives, not only physically, but also mentally in a way, because everyone who knows hairdressers knows that everyone tells them everything. And so I had mentioned to my friends and family that I actually wanted to be some type of counselor or maybe a therapist. And they all said, well, you already are, just in a different way, which was true. And it was then that I decided to look into what life coaching had to offer. And I was seeing my own life coach at the time. Growing up in a small town with less than 1,500 people, the mindset was just really small and people didn't understand me and my big dreams. And when I was 25 years old, I went through some really big transformations, bigger than I ever thought was going to happen to someone like me. And my best friend of 20 years, we had grown up together since we were 5 years old, was in an unexpected motorcycle accident, and her partner were killed on the spot. And that for me was such a big shock because I had been helping people with transformation for years and had been dealing with my own mindset and being such a positive impact in the world. And this really impacted me in a different way at such a young age. And it was through connection with people around me and collaboration with other entrepreneurs and community that I was able to really pull myself out of this dark spot, losing my best friend, and actually a month later losing our other best friend, Kylie, to a rare type of ovarian cancer. And she was also only 25 years old. So I had a lot of identity wrapped up in my friends and my community of who I hung out with and what we did for fun. And that all just disappeared because having both of my friends pass, a part of me passed with them. And having created a new community and connection and collaboration, I was able to pull myself out of this dark spot. And with that, I created the Boss Babe Women's Circle. And I started hosting transformational retreats and creating community that I really missed, having those women in my life and being able to not only support other women going through hard times, but also just dig myself out of that rut and create a structure where we could all build and grow and have fun together. So that's really what brought me into true lasting transformation over the last few years. And I just became a new mom. I have a 10-month-old, and that's been another big part of my transformation journey. So that's kind of where that all started.
For sure. It's interesting how things many times start out of either pain or I need this and I can't find it. You watch Shark Tank and people go, hey, how'd you come up with this? And they said, well, I needed this thing and I couldn't find it, so I made it. Well, you described pain and confusion. And then once things started congealing for you, and guess what? I'll probably nail this on the head. You would check the box, I have not arrived yet. right? And nobody
Right.
should feel like that way. But yet you've learned a lesson or four, and you are like the machete, holding guide in the Amazon jungle going, hey, I'm forging my way through this path. Follow me. I'll get scratched right along with you, but I've learned a lesson or two and I can help you avoid some things. So it sounds like you're focusing on working with women. Talk a little bit about some of the signs that a woman can notice that maybe she might be out of alignment with that energy that she wishes she had.
Yeah, of course. So right now, a lot of women are struggling with burnout. They're struggling with forms of depression, anxiety. A lot of them are struggling with alcoholism. A lot are struggling with maybe taking medications that aren't for them. And a lot of times we want to run in and just hide in a hole because we don't believe that anyone is going to understand us. And there's this weird thing around today's with social media and everything where women are just comparing themselves to others instead of really working together. So I would say if they're experiencing some type of burnout, if they're feeling like they just want to be more isolated, if they're feeling like things are showing up in their body with, I would say, holding their breath, noticing that they don't have a lot of time to themselves to relax and really just be in their feminine flow, and they're, in their masculine energy, just go, go, go. So I would say,
Sometimes when I hear or think of questions, or I'm hearing you respond, it kind of makes me go, okay, that's spot on, hit the nail on the head. But let's really dive in deep and fully explain and define what actually would feminine energy be, because it's like, oh, it's a Jeep thing, and it's got, like when you see people that own a Jeep and it's like, oh, we have this, identity, this club. What would feminine energy be defined as, and kind of what are some examples that way?
yeah, feminine energy is going with the flow. A lot of
Okay.
time, everybody in their body has masculine and feminine energy. Women, we have 70% feminine and 30% masculine. Men are the other way around. A lot of times, feminine energy is just being able to create things from a flow state, from your creativity, from meditation, from actually allowing your body to relax instead of the actual go and physically get shit done. So a lot of time where people make the mistake is that they want to accomplish something and they go out and they physically are working hard for it. The feminine energy is the idea, is where the idea started from. That is where the feminine
Okay.
energy comes from.
So I would also add on to that and say, how would this relate? You think of the old cliche type A personality, like, they're just a real go-getter. Let's go, go, go. And I think that that's a wonderful trait to have, or else you are, kind of laid back and not getting anything done. But there could be like the out of balance side of things there. So when I'm hearing you describe feminine energy and going in flow, it made me think of this. You really don't want to be striving and grinding. There's a time to like have a big long to-do list, because in this period of my life, the first part of the year, you've got Q1 that you've got to get some things launched, and it might mean you're going to work some longer days, but you can work longer hours without being in the mode of striving and grinding, right? So how does that relate
Correct.
to then feminine energy?
Correct. It's interesting that you bring that up at the beginning of the year because, and I actually touch base on this in some of my programs on a way deeper level, but just to scratch the surface is right now we're on a Gregorian calendar, which is masculine made, where January is goal setting and crushing things and new goals, where our internal calendar doesn't start to want to create those goals until springtime. That's why
Hmm.
there's spring cleaning. That's why things are blooming outside in nature. And the feminine body very much goes on that calendar with the seasons. So if you're a woman right now and you're like, oh, I just don't feel like grinding in my business, or it's extra hard, it's because it's winter. It's because you're supposed to be in hibernation mode. So I would say, don't push yourself too hard right now. Be in that meditative state. Really focus on what you want to create in your business and how you're going to start planning for that come March.
That's really powerful, and I think that some people could hear that and go, "Oh, cool. I feel like that, most of the year, so I'm just going to hang back and just let it happen." And then that could be, a form of laziness. But I think when you can realize that, okay, for this period of time, if I can give myself permission to kind of be in that meditative state. And that might not mean sit there and do nothing. It might mean journal, plan, have some things put
Of
into place,
course.
but not getting her done.
Correct. And women also have an internal structure where we have different hormones that are in our body each week. So our cycle is a month long, and we have 1 week where we want to grind and push and get things done in our business. We have 1 week where we should really slow down and honor our body. And then we have weeks of vision and weeks of fun and spontaneity. And there's a whole cycle around how the woman's body works. So when women, especially as entrepreneurs, are aware of how that cycle works, it can really support us in creating a real structure for our life and for our business that creates that transformation.
And then when you're working from that position of power and flow, you're 1,000,000,000% more productive, right? Your clarity is
Absolutely.
intact. And, I felt it as a dude, it's like, I'm just not feeling it today. And I'm a type A plus, plus, plus. And when I allow myself to not feel it that afternoon and kind of hold back, all of a sudden, a few hours later, something is like, oh, I got to do that thing. And then it's just like, here comes this momentum. And then I'm just in the flow. So I really am resonating with what you're saying, because you need to, number one, watch out for and be aware of these cycles and times of your business life, personal life, and all of that. So think about from that perspective of what you just said, how can women then begin to reconnect with their feminine energy in their lives if they've noticed that it's a little bit off? Because it's one thing to go, oh, it's off, but now what do you do with it?
Absolutely. Number one is, I would say, tune into your body and take time to breathe. A lot of us women entrepreneurs, we go throughout our day not even realizing that we're actually holding our breath. So I would encourage them to set a timer for every hour. And on that hour, make sure that you're breathing, take a couple deep breaths, relax your body, relax your shoulders. And another one is just to find a community of women that can support you in what it is that you're trying to do.
Because accountability is huge, because support is huge. And also, if you're in that group of people that are similar to you, they might have gone through some of the same things. And number one, you might feel like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that did this, had this happen, experienced this, felt that. So what are some of those key takeaways for watching for a group that you can really resonate with and connect with?
Some of those key takeaways is that most of the time you're going to realize that you have something to offer someone else, and that ultimately ends up healing you more than you thought it would.
Yeah.
Community not only helps us heal ourselves, but sometimes helping others is really what gives us the most, I don't know the word, satisfactory. But that's what gives
Yeah.
us the most energy, the most healing, the most abundance, is when we realize that we can actually support others there as well.
Well, people have often said, you learn and really internalize a lesson best once you've taken it from head knowledge into serving someone else and providing that value to someone else, because now you're speaking from your own personal experience and you're being rewarded when you see the light bulb go off in that person's life, because been there, done that. Now I'm helping you.
Of course.
So then it becomes almost like a circle, a full circle. It's like, you join this community and you need it, but then you're learning some things and you're feeling fulfilled because you're getting that support. But then you notice someone in the group is struggling with something you did. So you're giving extra value there. And maybe someone outside of the group you are connected to, you can, pull into and invite into the group. And if everybody is focusing on helping each other out and not just take, what a vibrant group that would look like, right?
It's absolutely been so exciting in my Boss Babe Women's Circle, because that's what we focus on the most: connection, collaboration, and community. And the collaboration comes when all of us get together and we're like, hey, let's do this together, or let's support this mom, or let's support this business. And it really creates just a strong foundation for the community, because not only are you going to be able to connect with these women, be able to support them in what they need and get the connection that you're looking for, but you're able to collaborate with them and you're able to have the community there all together, which is what a lot of us women really need.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what that looks like if someone is hearing this going, I kind of need this community. What would that inner circle and boss babe retreat and all of the inner workings look like for someone to experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually do a once a month master, um, what am I looking for? The word here. I'm drawing a blank.
Masterclass?
A masterclass. Yes, thank you. So I have my once a month masterclass, Boss Babe Women's Circle Masterclass, where you can get on. We do something new every month. So I'll teach about cycle syncing, about the seasons, different things like that. And then we actually have a panel of women that are able to speak. And then we also give all of these women an opportunity to actually be on the panel themselves to share their business, share what they're up to in the world. And then we host retreats quarterly every year, or sorry, 4 times a year. And that's where we just really dive deep. And the retreats are a mix of masculine and feminine energy. So we sit down and we go over strategies for your business, how to create more income, more time freedom. And then we go over how you can support yourself in your feminine energy. We have drum circles, we have sound baths, we have meditation. And it's really just a great fun mix of the two energies because we dance and have fun, but we also get shit done and we do it together. So those are my
And
two biggest ones.
yeah, for me, listening to that, hearing that layout, it kind of goes from, it reminds me of the saying, knowledge is power. And people are like, yeah, knowledge is power. No, knowledge is potential power. You got to put that knowledge into action. So your masterclass or some of your resources may be the knowledge, the learning, but that doesn't do much good until you put it into action. And with the retreat, you have the implementation along with the collaboration with the group, which then creates the accountability, because probably the accountability begins the day you register, even before you show up, as well as after you leave, because it's like, we want to keep this momentum going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you talk to someone face to face on those classes or people have seen you, you have more energy for yourself too, to actually show up for them. So that's been a great side I've seen with these women on the panel. They speak on the panel and then they're like, actually, I want to share more at the retreat. How can I become a speaker? So there's different avenues to our retreats with that as well.
So let's kind of wrap up with this thought. Once someone kind of has the realization, I need some improvement. I'm not broken. I just need some support and improvement. And they come and engage with your programs. What are some of the KPIs, next steps, takeaways, wins, successes that they're seeing? And I know there's a lot of categories, personal, professional, but what are some of those things that people are experiencing from that momentum shift that they're gaining from your program?
Absolutely. One of my biggest is seeing the confidence in these women, because they show up to the retreat and they're kind of quiet and just to themselves in their seat. And by the end, they're shouting, they're dancing, and they're wanting to become a speaker. So finding that deep resonating confidence within themselves. And then also the ability to collaborate with these other women. I've seen so many connections happen in these circles that a lot of these women host their own retreats, and we're speaking at each other's retreats. We're, sharing our stories on their stage, and they're coming to my stage, and they're both allowing each other to have that collaborative side, but also make money and make time for each other. And that's one of the best parts about it, is having that community that you can trust and share those ideas with. And my very favorite one is just the sisterhood. You're able to have women and moms and entrepreneurs that know exactly what you're going through. So the connection side, where you can have, best friends, and us women, we need the friendship side of things. So I would say you're able to make more time and income, the collaboration and the friendships.
I love it. Well, Bree, this has been so eye-opening. And if someone is interested in experiencing that transformation for themselves, what's the best way that they can learn more?
Yeah, so you can connect with me at breecook360.com. There's a contact there. Just send me a text message and we can collaborate together.
Excellent. Bree, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.